Alright, team, so we're back, of course, to talk about some Final Fantasy XVI, and this is some shit we had to discuss. So, a little under 2 months from release, before we even have the demo in our hands for 16, the game is already banned in one country. And that country is Saudi Arabia. Now, we don't, as of right now, from everything that I can look up online and research, I don't think we have a particular, for sure, reason as to why the game is banned, like in terms of what's in the game that got it banned. We do, however, have a statement from the Saudi Arabian Public Authority of Media that says, for fans of the Final Fantasy XVI, is obviously what that's supposed to say, game, we would like to clarify that it has not been released in the kingdom due to the publisher's unwillingness to make the necessary modifications. So the first thing that people are jumping on when it comes to this topic is LGBT stuff in the game, which is, of course, a possibility given the culture of Saudi Arabia, a lot of the Middle East. It's, for lack of a better term, taboo there, but it's also like an illegal thing there. And depending on the country, you can get the death penalty for simply being gay. So this, of course, is a definite possibility. I don't know that we have any confirmation of there being LGBT characters in 16, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Final Fantasy and like Square Enix these days seem very inclusive. Like 7 Remake, got to get the 7 Remake reference in there. Like, obviously Andrea and like some of the Honeybee and stuff or whatever, like was handled correctly more so than the original FF7's Honeybee. And there's actually, I did come across a Reddit post from a little over a month ago where somebody was talking about there possibly being LGBT characters in 16. There's like cryptic tweets coming from like Arabic gaming journalists. Here's 2 of the quotes that come from this stuff. It says, "It seems that the big publisher is sticking to his gay shot." This is auto-translation. I assume it's meant to say gay shit, which is causing his game to not be released in the region. And then another one is, "It is not a game from Sony or Microsoft, a third party. It has become easy to guess now." And obviously those statements fall in line with what's happening now. 16 is potentially sticking to its gay shit, as that said. I assume that's what it's supposed to say. And then obviously it's not a first party game. It's a third party, right? And some people were kind of down on the Reddit post because people point out that like straight stuff gets banned in Saudi as well. But like clearly this person seemed to be correct. Now, putting aside the LGBT stuff for a second, the other possibilities here are, we know the game is M-rated, and I don't want to speak out of turn because I just have no idea, but I just don't know how that's handled over there in terms of like strong language and gore and other things like that. But we do know that 16 is going to have sexual themes, as the ESRB would describe it. Or more specifically, it's described as, the game contains some sexual material, a character caressing and straddling a man in bed, references to prostitution, sexual moaning, sounds in a brothel, dialogue such as, "I'd be happy to show you, provided I can afford it," and "Thank you for your service, my chamber is just upstairs." Some characters are depicted with partially exposed breast and buttocks. And this right here is like the guarantee when it comes to Saudi Arabia, because they definitely don't want to see like nude women or exposed women. I've mentioned this before on the channel when we've talked about like Saudi Arabia in the past and stuff like that, but like I'm a WWE fan and they do pay-per-views over there like a few times a year, and the women are allowed to wrestle on those pay-per-views, but they have to wear like full bodysuits essentially. They can't like come out dressed like they normally would. And we've seen in multiple of the Final Fantasy 16 trailers that we're seeing a relatively exposed woman, right? So I feel like this alone could potentially get the game banned over there if Square Enix was unwilling to change the scene or alter the scene. But I do think it'd be kind of a culmination of things, but I think mostly it would be what we talked about previously, based on like the tweets we looked at earlier that were definitely had to be alluding to 16. Now that we've seen 16 get banned in that country a little bit over a month after those tweets came out, it's got to be because of LGBT stuff. Now, I don't know who's supposed to be gay or whatever in the game. There's theories out there that people have had even before like this stuff is happening now. The common one I see is Dion. I don't know if we've heard his name said yet, but he's like the dominant for Bahamut. I'm not really sure why people pick him specifically as the potential gay character, but I mean, maybe, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Regardless of the particular character, I just want to give props to Square Enix, Yoshi P, and the dev team and whoever we have to praise for this, because for them to like stick to their guns, right? To make a piece of art and not want to alter it or change it for anybody, doesn't matter who. Like, they're missing out on Saudi Arabia, which is a country that is very lucrative, right? If you're trying to like make a product. Again, going back to the WWE reference I used earlier, like that's why they go over there, because there's a lot of money to be made by just doing like one show a year, despite it being blood money, as some people say. And it's kind of quickly looking into it, like more than half of the population of Saudi Arabia is gamers, right? So again, there's a lot of money to be made from gaming over in that country, and for them to be unwilling to alter the product just to appease their cultural beliefs or whatever, you gotta give props to them, man. And really, like, depending on what it is exactly, like, it might be something that you kind of can't change or alter. Like, if there's a gay character, like, and if you were to, like, cut their scenes entirely and cut dialogue, alter dialogue entirely, that would insinuate that they're gay or whatever, LGBT. Like, it's kind of an impossibility, right? It's kind of like, I know this is an obscure, a weird example, but like people that wanted Crisis Core Reunion but no Genesis. Like, that's an impossibility. You can't just remove Genesis from the game, right? And it's kind of the same thing here. Like, if there's a prominent character who is gay, like, you can't just remove them from the game, right? Like, they'd have to, like, overhaul the game entirely, re-record dialogue, remove cutscenes, alter cutscenes, whatever the fuck, right? Like, it'd just be, like, a tedious thing that's not even worth the effort, even if they wanted to do it. I'm trying to toe the line as much as I can with this topic without getting, like, too political into this stuff, but, like, obviously, I disagree with the mindset over there, with the culture. And we've talked about, like, LGBT stuff in gaming before on the channel. It was a big part of the channel, like, years ago. And I've always said that it's, like, fine. Like, I don't give a shit about that stuff in games, like, whatever. It doesn't need to be, like, the only character trait for a gay character, and it doesn't need to be, like, a marketing tool. You don't have to be like, hey, we have gay characters, so buy our game. Like, that's the problem I've always had with this stuff. When they're just regular-ass people who just happen to be gay, like, that's perfectly fine. Hell yeah, let's more of that, please. But what we're talking about here is, like, real-life stuff, right? Over there in this region of the world, if you're a gay person, you're a man attracted to another man, woman attracted to another woman, like, you can face legal action or potentially the fucking death penalty, just depending on which country it is. And that's fucking insane to me. So again, props to Square Enix on this one. There's a lot to criticize Square Enix for, but at least they're not willing to take Saudi Arabia's blood money for Final Fantasy XVI. Plenty of other companies would be willing to. I'm not sure if we'll ever have, like, confirmation on what this ban is about until we actually have 16 in our hands, unless, like, Square Enix themselves go out of their way to announce that they have a gay character in the game, which, again, they haven't done that. That's what other games do. A lot of other studios do that shit. Like, hey, this character's gay. Do you see this gay character we have? Like, if there is, they're not marketing it, right? Which is props to them. Like, again, because they're just regular fucking people. You don't have to announce that a goddamn character's gay. They can just be a fucking person who happens to be attracted to the same sex. Anyways, I'm off the soapbox on this one, my dudes. That's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DaveYT. That's it. Bye.
True beauty is an expression of the heart, a thing without shame, to which notions of gender don't apply.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.